So today we were doing a bunch of work to remove a modification I did that was a bad idea. So you can guess what's going on here. Yeah. So the Spartan Locker that I put in here was the biggest piece of shit ever. That was a terrible idea. I thought it might be a bad idea and I wanted to test it, but man, was it a bad idea. It ruined this truck's driving on pavement. So a Spartan Locker is a lunchbox locker. It's in there. You can see it right here. It engages with the teeth on the side gears, and it's a ratcheting type locker. They worked good in my 88 4Runner. They worked good in a couple other vehicles I've done. They work good in the front of four-wheelers. They do not work good in GX 460s, GX 470s, anything all-wheel drive, especially something with a limited slip center differential that sends more power to the back, or more torque to the back. It never disengaged right. Kept hoping it would get better as it broke in. It did not. Basically, this drivetrain with the center differential put 70% of the torque to the rear, also has a limited slip function, so the pinion gear never gets unloaded enough to allow it to function properly. So these should only be installed on rear-wheel drive only trucks on pavement, or part-time four-wheel drive. Shame on you, Spartan, for advertising this locker for this truck. That's criminal. You're gonna get someone killed. It is extremely unpredictable when it's going to lock and unlock, and on ramps and off ramps it's terrifying. So doing all the work to remove it and put the stock gears back in. I would have been putting an ARB locker in here in its place, because selectable locker is the only way to go on an all-wheel drive vehicle, but the ARBs are going to go in the GX 460, and this thing is going to be open and go for sale. So a lot of work, and part of the reason it's a lot of work is because I am paranoid and I welded every bolt in. So I got to go through and grind a bunch of welds and try to break them off, but they don't break off. I got to grind them off. And then I got to open this up and put my factory spider gears in, and we're going to see how tore up the side gears are. It feels like they should be tore up. It looks okay in here. There wasn't much metal in the oil, but it just feels terrible with this locker in there. Everyone who's drove the truck agrees this was a stupid idea. So learn from my mistakes and don't be stupid. Do not put a ratcheting type locker, especially a Spartan, in the back of a GX 470. Maybe if I did a full one that didn't reuse the factory gears like the torque one, it might have been better. But in any case, I'm never going to put a lunchbox locker in an all-wheel drive truck ever again. Way too much work to test out how bad of an idea this was going to be. Again, whenever you're pulling one of these apart, always mark everything. So there's two dots there that's pointing straight up to this bolt right here. Okay, I've marked this. Boom, boom. And on this side, one dot pointing straight up to this bolt here. And I'm not going to turn the differential, but you can use the way the teeth are facing. So the teeth point towards the single dot. So there you go. All right, that should be enough for me to figure out how to put this thing back together. You got to match the caps, and you can't switch the nuts, and you got to do the same number of turns. So now I'm going to count how many turns it takes to disengage these two. We got our open diff reassembled. There was literally no visible wear at all on the teeth, as you'd expect from Toyota metal. Also, these guys look fine, so I might hold on to this to put it in a different Toyota that's not all-wheel drive, but the locker looks fine. The way it felt, I expected to see some wear. The noises it made were terrible, but everything looks good. So gotta throw it back together, retorque everything, set my backlash, and we're good to go. So far, this has taken me about an hour to get to this point, so probably a 2.5 hour job overall to install this locker, if you've done one before. All right, so the stock spider gears are back in the 470. Filled the diff up with gear oil, obviously. Don't forget to do that. Been there, not good. This is what the locker looks like. You can see there is a little bit of wear, which is what I expected. I honestly expected more than that. I do not think this is a particularly good design. I like the lunchbox lockers that have two halves, so they don't just replace the spider gears, they replace the spider gear and the side gear. That being said, this thing will probably work fine if you didn't have an all-wheel drive truck. People say the Spartans are a little louder, and I think that's because they don't have the other half. They're using the factory side gear again. If anyone wants this, it'll fit a lot of different Toyotas. I will literally mail it to you for shipping costs because I'm not going to use it. There's the part number on that. I think it's the same part number on this side too. Yep. And there's also a part number on here. 0308 on both those. So that's the full locker right there. When you install this, be sure to not, they tell you not to use the shims. The shims that are on the back of the side gears, you take those out. Otherwise, it's just a drop in. So if you've got like a, you know, a rear wheel drive, part-time four-wheel drive Toyota E6 rear, I don't know. You can look at the part number though. It's the one that fits the 4Runners and the GXs. This would be pretty cool to put in like an SR5 4Runner that was mostly used off-road. Not really daily driver friendly because of all the clicking noises. But yeah, it's deleted. It's back to being a luxury machine. Amazing.